There are 3 Visio tutorials, and this video is going to talk about the second Visio tutorial. This tutorial is going to cover swim lanes or cross-functional flowcharts, hyperlinking the diagrams, data graphics, layers, themes, backgrounds, borders, and layouts. Let's look at swim lanes or cross-functional flowcharts. A major shortcoming of the organization chart is that it does not determine roles and responsibility for each step or who makes the key decisions. Unlike any ordinary organization chart, swim lane diagrams are organized by role, function, department, or phase. Each process step is placed into a specific lane based on who does the work or who has the responsibility for that process step. Particularly, swim lanes can clarify not only the steps and who is responsible for each one, but also how delays, mistakes, or cheating are most likely to occur in a business process that involves more than one department. Swim lanes are used as a mechanism to visually segregate different functional capabilities or responsibilities. Now let's look at a brief example to understand swim lanes. Go to the File tab under New. There are 2 ways of approaching swim lane template. You can either click on Flowchart under Template Categories and then click on Cross-Functional Flowchart and then click on Create. Or you can go to Blank Drawing under Other Ways to Get Started and then click on Create. Once the template is open, you can click on More Shapes. Under Flowchart, you can go ahead and click on Cross-Functional Flowchart Shapes. The stencil for swim lane would appear on the left-hand side. Go ahead and drag swim lane from here to the drawing board. I'm just going to change the orientation of this by going to the Design tab. Under Page Setup, I'm going to make it Landscape. Once that is done, I'm simply going to drag it up. So this is a swim lane template. I'm just going to stretch it a bit so that it fits. Alright, once we have that, let's say we want to draw a swim lane for a software development lifecycle. So I'm going to put in the title. The first phase of SDLC is project approval and initiation. Then the next phase is diagnostics, which is essentially looking at the project, what it is all about, studying the BRS. So in order to add that, I'm going to click on this swim lane first, and then I'm going to right click and click on Insert Swim Lane After. Then I'm going to double click on Function and type in Diagnostics. So you can see how you can add phases or functions to the swim lane. Once that is done, then we can go ahead and start drawing the various steps that are involved in these phases. So in order to do that, I'm going to need my basic flowchart shapes. So to get that, I'm going to click on More Shapes. In that, I'm going to go to Flowchart, and then I'm going to click on Basic Flowchart Shapes. The stencil for Basic Flowchart Shape has appeared, and I'm going to click on it. So my first step would be to start. So I'm simply going to drag Start Object and place it in Project Initiation phase, and I'm going to type in Start. Once that is done, I'm going to click on this. I see that the blue triangle has not appeared, so I'm going to go to View and I'm going to check Auto Connect. Once that is done, now again I'm going to click on Start and blue triangle has appeared. The next shape I want to insert is a data object, because this is where business requirement solution has been entered into the system. Other project details entered into the system. Now we need a decision box because in diagnostics phase, they're going to check, is the BRS properly documented? Is the information in the document enough to start the project? So again, I'm going to click on this blue triangle and I want to be able to select decision box, which is available here. So I'm going to click on that and I'm simply going to type in, is BRS properly documented, and question mark. So I hope this has given you an idea of how a swim lane diagram or a cross-functional diagram is developed and how useful it is. Now let's say I want to be able to change the color of this. So I'm going to go to the Design tab and under Themes I'm going to click on this drop down and I can select any theme from here. So if I click on the green color, so it's just going to change the color to green, or if I wanted lighter green, so I'm going to change that. And my entire diagram is now changed to a different color. Let's say I want to be able to add background to my page. So again, under Design tab next to Theme, there's something called Backgrounds. Click on the backgrounds drop down and various backgrounds are available, so just select any you want. Notice that a V background tab has appeared. Before that there was only one tab here, which was page 1. After clicking on background, a background tab has appeared. Here, if you want certain things to appear on all slides, you can go ahead and include them in the background slide. Let's say I want borders for my background as well. So I'm simply going to go to backgrounds and in that there's something called borders and tiles. So I'm just going to select any border and it has appeared. Let's say I want the title to say swim lanes. And it should appear on every page, every drawing board. So when I go back to page 1, which contains that, it's going to contain swim lane as the headline. So this is how you can change the color, the background, design of the drawings. Now let's say I want to be able to change the layout as well. So next to background, there's something called layout. So I'm simply going to click on this relayout page and it is just going to change the layout automatically for me. So you can see it has various layouts. So I want this particular one down and then right, and it has accordingly changed it, and I'm going to drag it up here. If you want to change the style of connectors, you can do that from here by clicking on connectors drop down and you can change it based on your convenience. You can also customize colors and themes by clicking on colors drop down and effects drop down as well. After introducing cross-functional template, a new tab has appeared, cross-functional flowchart. So if you go to that tab, you have various options, such as if you want the orientation to change, you can go to arrange, and in that you can click on orientation and it'll change to vertical. It can change back to horizontal. You can also change the direction of swim lane by clicking right to left or left to right. It has changed. I'm just going to change it back. So this is how a cross-functional flowchart can be developed. Layers are crucial to Visio drawing as it helps organize data in diagrams. For those who have worked on CAD, will find it relatively easy to understand. The basic difference between CAD layers and Visio layers is that in CAD world, all objects are assigned to layers, and if not, then CAD automatically assigns that object to layer 0. In Visio, not all objects are assigned to layers, or an object can be assigned to multiple layers. For instance, if user drops two different types of objects, a sub-process box and a connector, both will automatically be assigned to two different predefined layers, flowchart and connector respectively. The reason being Visio has a predefined layer environment based on the template chosen. However, if object is user created, namely a new stencil created by the user, it will not be assigned to any layer and user will need to assign it to a layer or create a new layer and then assign accordingly. All Visio pages can have a background page regardless of the layer. Each background page has its own layer which can be modified if the background page is displayed or selected. In order to access layer, you need to go to the Home tab, and under Editing, there's something called Layers. Once you click on that drop down, there's something called Layer Properties. A screen would appear with the following layer properties: visible, print, active, lock, snap, glue, color. Visibility option gives user the ability to make the layer visible in the drawing, or if he or she does not want to make that layer visible. So for example, if I uncheck this box under visible and connector and I click on apply and then I click OK, you can see all the connectors have vanished. They are not visible anymore. It is possible that a non-visible layer is printed if the printed column is checked and visible column is unchecked. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Again, I'm going to go to Layer Properties and I'm going to click on that. You can see printing option is checked for both connector and flowchart, but visibility option is unchecked for connector. So hence, if you print this document, it will print with the connectors. That means it will print as it is. If you do not want to print the connectors, then you need to go to Layers, Layer Properties, and uncheck Print from here. This feature can be very useful if certain part of the document is confidential and is not to be shared in hard copy. Selection of active ensures that the object not only belongs to its predefined layer, but also the layer which has active selected. So let me just show you what I'm talking about. I'm going to go to Layer Properties and I want you to remember two things. I want you to remember that there are 14 connectors and 16 flowchart objects. Remember this number 16. Now I'm going to go ahead and click on Connector and I'm going to go to Layer. Now you can see Assign Layer has been activated. It is activated only when you have one or more shapes selected. So I'm going to click on Assign to Layer and I'm going to check this box called Flowchart. So now this particular connector is assigned not only to the connector layer but also to the flowchart layer. And I'm going to click OK. Now I'm going to go back to Layer Properties and I want you to notice that under flowchart, number of objects has increased to 17. So that means connector has been assigned to not only the connector layer but also to the flowchart layer. If I uncheck visible layer and I click OK, you can see that this particular object is still visible because flowchart layer is still visible. So let me just fix that. If I want to get back to my status quo, then I'm simply going to click on Assign Layer again after selecting the connector, and I'm going to uncheck this and I'm going to click OK. Now if you click on Layer Properties, this has gone back to 16 shapes. The next property is Lock. Lock option gives user the right to restrict modification and or movement of the object. If this option is selected for a particular layer, objects belonging to that layer cannot be touched or moved, let alone any kind of modification. So currently, if I want to move, let's say, this particular shape, I can go ahead and move that, right? Now let's say I'm going to lock flowchart layer. So I'm simply going to check this box and I'm going to click on apply and then OK. Now I want to be able to move this box back, but I'm not even able to select it. I can select the connector and bring it back here, but I'm not able to touch any flowchart objects. So this is what lock means. So let me go ahead and unlock this. Click on apply and click OK. And now I'm going to move it back to its original position. Snap and glue simply state that the user can snap to or glue to any shape in a given layer. Color option gives user the ability to turn the objects in a layer to whatever color has been chosen by the user. So for example, if I click on color here for the connector layer and I change the color to, let's say, blue, and I click on apply, and then I click on color for the flowchart layer and I'm going to change it to, let's say, black, and I click on apply, and you can see the entire flowchart has totally changed its color. Color can also be used to illustrate critical path. So this is how useful layer option can be. So this was to give you a brief idea about layer option. Now let's look at data graphics. Data graphics is similar to conditional formatting in MS Excel. Just like in Excel, only one data graphic can be applied to any shape at a time. Data graphics enhance the diagram, and especially when diagram is being refreshed on real-time basis. It gives an impression of a dashboard being updated on a daily or hourly basis. Data graphics essentially is a technique to give visual appeal to the diagram. So let's look at an example to better understand data graphics. Let's say we have this particular organization chart, and this was introduced in tutorial 1 as well. And we had made this organization chart using an Excel file which basically contains CEO, managers, and vice presidents of the company, their salary, their reporting relationship, employee number, and the name. So go to the Data tab. Under Display Data, there's something called Data Graphics. Click on that and then click on Create New Data Graphic. Another window will appear. Click on New Item. In that, another window will appear. There's something called Data Field. This is essentially the column name. So I'm going to click on this drop down and I'm going to select Title, which is essentially my designation, because I want all the CEO, all the managers, and all the vice presidents to appear in 3 different colors. And now under Displayed As, I'm going to select Color by Value. Once I do that, Color Assignment screen appears. I can go ahead and change the color of the objects. So let's say I want to change this to green. I want to change this to a lighter blue for managers, and for vice presidents I want to change it to a lighter purple. This is essentially based on alphabetical order. And I'm going to click OK now. And I'm going to click OK. You see that the data graphic has not affected the diagram. That's because the organization chart was not selected prior to creating the data graphics. So I'm simply going to select the entire chart, and then I'm going to go ahead and click on the data graphic which was just created, which was this one. Now I'm going to go back to that data graphic and I'm going to right click on it and I'm going to click Edit. Once I do that, I can add more criteria to this. So again, I'm going to click on edit item. In that, let's say I want to also display salary of the employees. So I'm going to select salary from the drop down, and I want to display icon set, and I want to be able to select these icons. And I want to divide the employees in two ranges: employees who earn more than 50,000 and employees who earn less than 50,000. If they earn greater than or equal to 50,000, then this green arrow would appear. So from the drop down, I'm simply going to select greater than or equal to 50,000, and then I'm going to type in 50,000 in this box. I'm not going to use this icon, so I'm simply going to click on the drop down and click on not used. If an employee earns less than 50,000, then the down arrow would appear, and I'm going to click on less than and type in 50,000 here. For others, I'm simply going to select not used because we're not using that. And where would you like to display this? Horizontally, I want them to appear on the left hand side, and vertically, I want it to appear at the top. And I'm simply going to click OK. Now notice that my first data graphic has disappeared. That's because I had clicked on edit item. If you would like to add further data graphics, then you need to be able to click new items. So we're just going to go ahead and recreate the data graphic based on titles. So I'm simply going to select color by value, and I'm simply going to change the color as we had decided upon. Click OK. Now both data graphics have appeared. Now click apply and click OK. Now we can clearly identify who is earning more than 50,000, who's earning less than 50,000, who are the managers in the company, who are the vice presidents, and who's the CEO. So this is how data graphics enhance a diagram. Now let's say I want to be able to insert hyperlink in this document. Just like the hyperlink feature in MS Word, Excel, or PowerPoint, hyperlinks provide users the opportunity to link one page to another, or to link documents, web pages, or specific shapes in the same or another Visio drawing. However, Visio has an added ability, which is to lead the reader to a particular phrase in a Word document or an Excel spreadsheet. In order to link a specific location or phrase in MS Word document, user needs to create a bookmark in the document first and then use that bookmark name in the sub-address field. Similarly, in Excel, user needs to name the cells or define cell names, range name, and use the cell or range name in the sub-address field in Visio. So let me show you what I'm talking about. Go ahead and click on the object which you need to create a hyperlink for. So let's say I'm going to click on this particular object, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to click on hyperlink. So this is the address field, this is the sub-address field. This is just to introduce you to the window, and I'm going to click cancel right now. Now I'm going to go to the Word document which would be linked to this particular shape. Now this is my Word document. It consists of 2 pages, and I want to be able to link page 2 and particularly this paragraph with Visio. So I'm going to select this, then I'm going to go to the Insert tab. Under Links, I'm going to click on Bookmark. Another window would appear. In that, I'm going to type in the name of the bookmark. Let's say in this case it would be testing, and I'm going to click Add. Once I've done that, then I'm going to close this window. It's going to ask me whether I want to save the changes. I'm going to say yes. Now coming back to the Visio diagram, again I'm going to click on this particular shape, and I'm going to right click on it and click hyperlink. In address, I'm going to input the location of the file by clicking on browse, and I want to browse to a local file, so I'm going to click on local file, and I know it's in my videos folder, and then it is in my Visio folder, and it is a Word document, so I'm going to select all files. Then I'm going to click on testing because that's the file I want to select, and I'm going to click open. In sub-address, I'm going to type in the name of the bookmark, which was testing. And now I'm going to click OK. Now let's preview this tab to full screen. Once I do that, I'm going to click on this particular object because I know it contains hyperlink. So another dialog box would open. It's just asking me, would you like to open this file? And I'm going to say yes. And here you go. It has opened exactly page 2 in the document and exactly that particular area. And right now I'm going to click close. Just see. So you can see Visio has an added advantage in terms of hyperlink because you can reach out to the exact place in a document or in an Excel sheet or in PowerPoint.
This video was brought to you by CXO Learning Academy, a premier learning initiative by CXO Math. For any queries, you can email us at learning@cxomath.com. Thank you.